Hello there everyone, this is Quiversee and welcome back to the Pokemon Platinum Nuzlocke. Last time we made it over to Sunyshore City and I ended up losing more of my team, which I have promptly replaced. I also need to preface this by saying this is going to be post-commentary because my audio got corrupted somehow. Yeah, I don't know what the heck happened, but this part as well as the next couple are going to have this exact same issue, unfortunately. As for what happened in between parts, well, as you can see over on the right, we got ourselves a new team member. Over at Lake Valor, I went and caught Brava the Staravia, who, after just one level, evolved into Staraptor. And I also evolved our good buddy Spitfire into an Octillery, who we caught here in Sunyshore. After which, I spent a good chunk of time training. As for how things look now, here's where we stand. Starting off with Lumen, who is now level 44. As you can see, very high speed and special attack with a decent amount of special defense. He's actually proven to be pretty good already. Like, he was taking out some Pokemon that were above his level. Brava also hits pretty hard with physical attack and speed. A bit better on the physical defense, and a lot more health than I would have expected. The best thing about Brava, though, is that Intimidate ability, if you ask me. As for her moves, if past me would hurry up and flip over, thank you. We have Fly, Aerial Ace, Return, and U-Turn. I'm still kind of considering, even now, on switching out Aerial Ace for, like, close combat via Heart Scale. But for now, I'm okay to just leave it as is. I might also end up needing to give her Defog, but that's yet to be seen. Spook is pretty much unchanged. Spitfire, his stats aren't as high as I would have hoped, if I'm being honest, but he actually has some decent defenses all around, so he can actually take a few hits. And he currently knows Surf, Flamethrower, Signal Beam, and Sludge Bomb. So, right now, the only thing I'm considering is switching out Signal Beam for Ice Beam. But for now, I think Signal Beam is a good move. Onyxia is mostly unchanged, except for the fact that I switched out Thunder Fang for Ice Fang, and I ended up getting that Gyro Ball TM I was talking about before. And then there's Sympath, who I was able to teach Leaf Blade via Heart Scale, and who learned Psycho Cut by leveling up. Ultimately, I decided to axe Aerial Ace in order to keep Lucky Chant, because who doesn't want Lucky Chant? It's a move that prevents your enemies from giving you critical hits. It's kind of insane. And as you can see, Leaf Blade is also kind of insane. It is power 90 with a high crit ratio. It's even stronger than Psycho Cut, although Psycho Cut will still hit harder with Sympath because he is a Psychic type. Regardless, I am very happy with his moveset. And his stats for the most part. He ended up having a lot more special defense than I expected. The only complaint I have about Sympath is his speed is mediocre at best. But yeah, that is the team that we have now. Pretty good stuff. Now, around this point, I was originally discussing what I did to get my team up to this point, so I'm just gonna briefly go over here. All right, I forgot I did go to kind of showcase. So I'm flying over to Hardhome right now because there were two trainers that I fought over and over again to get all this training done. Overall, this took, I want to say it took like 8 hours total at most. It probably took a little less than that, honestly. Maybe closer to 5 or 6. But I don't know why I felt the need to switch to Sympath there. Oh, right, because I have the Luck Incense on Sympath. That's right. Anyway, the two trainers I'm talking about, those two. That old man with the Chatot and that old lady with the Roselia. Because what I discovered while doing this is that when you refight trainers, sometimes they level up. So they had level 45s, which made training extremely convenient. And as if that weren't enough, I used these two in particular because they're rich folks. Wait till you see how much money I get off of this. First gotta kill the Chatot, though. I don't think he yeah, he kind of doesn't die in one hit. So I gotta go with another Psycho Cut. Sympath is just barely not strong enough to one-shot this stupid thing, and it drives me nuts. Luckily, a Roost is not going to save him. One more cut. And that was an incredibly easy fight. Like, very little effort. About 1,000 XP split between two Pokemon. And 18,000 Poké Dollars. That's a lot of money. And after all that training, I ended up with more money than I know what to do with. As you can see here, 455,000 Poké Dollars. And that's after spending money on buying the Gyro Ball TM, a Flamethrower TM for Spitfire. I bought a couple other items there as well. I forget exactly. Like some of the hold items that were in the coin shop. As well as all the healing items in the universe. As you can see here. I bought a lot. And I bought even more Pokeballs. There's no way I'm going to use all of them, but I bought them because I can. And I still have more money than I know what to do with. And on top of that, in order to help flesh out my team a bit better, I also bought a lot of the vitamins at the Veilstone department store. You know, the stuff like the HP ups, the proteins, the calciums, all that stuff. I bought a lot of those and fed them to the Pokemon I've got. So that way I was able to have their stats up to a more competitive level with what I'm dealing with. And I think the results are going to speak for themselves. At any rate, it is now time for us to make our merry way to the Sunyshore Gym. Which is basically on the top left corner of this city, as I just will kind of find by happenstance. But it's also blocked by Mr. Redhead. Yo, hiya! He hasn't come back yet. When he does, you know what you've got to do. Give him a battle that's so hot, it'll reignite his passion for battling. I'm counting on you, hotshot. So, yeah, Flint's blocking the door and telling us to go find the gym leader. So, the hunt for Volkner begins.
I'd heard that Team Galactic was up to no good. But here in Sunyshore, we've never even seen any of them around. Of course, our gym leader Volkner is invincible in every way.
A long time ago, there was a boy named Cyrus who lived here. He seemed to shun others, and he preferred the company of machines. He was a brilliant student, I recall. I often wonder what became of him.
Unfortunately for these fine old ladies, this fine old lady, Cyrus is now stuck in the nether dimension after trying to destroy the world. And we can't tell her that because we are a silent protagonist. But yeah, apparently this is where Cyrus is from, which is quite interesting. And here we have Julia.
Oh, hello, you're quite the nifty trainer. My husband's a sailor, and he's off working somewhere far away. I long for the day he comes back to me. All that waiting gets to be very boring every day, though. I know, how about you visit me and tell me stories every so often?
And apparently, now we can talk to her on various days to tell her stories of our travels. I don't really know what that means yet. I haven't had the chance to do anything with it. But, you know, it is what it is. Also, this town just has a rock shaped like a Munchlax, just because. It's just kind of there. No explanation given. But there is a sign. It's the Pokemon rock. That giant rock, is it really a Pokemon? It is very obviously a Munchlax. Random Thunderstone down here at the base of this stairway, and a rock climb wall that I can't go up with a house on it because I don't have anyone with rock climb. At least not yet. But that's something that'll be fixed at some point. The gym leader uses too much electricity. He needs to think about the city's power needs too. And this is, of course, the Vista Lighthouse, the beacon that lights Sinnoh. And waiting for us atop the lighthouse Well, would you look at that? A dude with spiky yellow hair. So, you're the latest challenger up against the Sunyshore Gym? Alright, I've decided. If I find you to be weak, I'm gonna challenge the Pokemon League. I'm all done with renovating the gym, so I don't need to be here. More than anything, I want to have battles that can thrill me again. As the toughest gym leader in Sinnoh, I'm going to unleash everything in my arsenal on you. Yep. Volkner was in the lighthouse because... I don't know.
I love how far away you can see with the binoculars. I'm gonna go that far with my Pokemon one day.
The Vista Lighthouse represents safety and protection to us sailors. And you can look through the binoculars and see a mysterious building shrouded in mist atop a waterfall. And that right there is what's telling me I'm probably going to need defog. That's very foggy. Either way, now that we have found Volkner, Flint should let us back into the gym, and we can see how our new team does against the gym leader. And given that this place is an electric gym, I think it's obvious who the star is going to end up being. You know, considering I have a member of my team that is completely immune to electricity. I mean, technically I have two, but there's one really. Yo, Hiya! He's finally come back! He seemed to be feeling upbeat, too. I have a hunch that he recognized your toughness right away. I bet he's getting excited over the thought of battling you. Remember what you have to do, Hotshot. Give him a battle so hot, it'll reignite his passion for battling. Alright, Hotshot. I'll be waiting at the Pokemon League. Bye, Flint. I can't wait for you to terrify me later. And welcome to the Sunyshore Gym, complete with gears and floor panels that make them spin. That's the puzzle here. And I do not remember if this is a puzzle unique to Platinum or if this is the same puzzle used in Diamond and Pearl. I have no recollection whatsoever. Just making sure I've got my team at the ready. And yeah, I've got the XP share over on Spitfire since A, Spitfire's the lowest level, and B, Spitfire is not going to be helpful for the vast majority of this gym. You know, given that he's kind of weak against electric types. Anyways, our first trainer in here is a school kid with a level 47 Pachirisu. So that's how we're opening. Little scary. Not the Pachirisu, but the fact that we're starting with a level 47. That's what's scary. But, yeah, that discharge did nothing to Sympath. And with Lucky Chant, it's going to continue to do nothing. The worst thing that could happen is a paralysis. All Sympath has to do is sit back and kill a squirrel. I completely forgot that that thing used Sweet Kiss on me. I guess the reason that I forgot, though, is because it ended up not mattering. And with that, we got a dead squirrel. The gears spin round and round, I spin down and out. That is such a weird thing for that school child to say. I don't know. It just feels weird. Either way, next trainer is a guitar man. I want to win! The desire I poured into my guitar! I don't understand what winning has to do with the guitar. Like, for the Pokemon battling line, I get it. But for the guitar one, I don't know. Either way, Magnemites. We saw them in the Steel Gym, and they're in the Electric Gym too, because they are both. Luckily for me, Steel equals weak to fighting equals one dead Magnemite via Drain Punch. Complete with fully healing Sympath. Drain Punch is such a good move. I'm so glad that Sympath was able to learn it. Its one weakness is its low power points. And as you can see, I have 7 power points on it, as well as 7 power points on Gyro Ball with Onyxia. I had 4 PP ups that I split between those two moves. That's what happened there. Because I have no intention of ever getting rid of either of those moves, unless those Pokemon were to die. So, yeah. I figured that just made sense. Ah, that's right. The Luxios like to swagger. Swagger is very dangerous for Pokemon like Lumen. Even though they don't have high attack, they don't have high defense, so when I get hit with Confusion after getting hit with Swagger, yeah, it does a lot. Luckily, Lumen did not die from Swagger Crunch combo. I was genuinely afraid he would there. But then I figured, screw it, it's time to bring out the big guns. Onyxia is going to be our MVP for this entire place. Because Earthquake. And being immune to electricity. As it is, at this point, I was already kind of musing about this. There's only one thing that would scare me. And it's specifically if the gym leader has a Pokemon that has special attacking moves that are super effective against Onyxia, like Focus Blast or Fire Blast or something like that. We'll just have to wait and see how that plays out, though, huh? Until then, Onyxia is just here to demolish all of these Lightning Lions. Like, the vast majority of the Pokemon here are not going to be able to do anything against her. And that Shell Bell is going to help make sure that even the tiny trickles of damage that they do to her get completely negated without me having to, like, try. Honestly, it wouldn't be a bad idea for me to find some other item to give her later on down the line to, like I might give her the Soft Sand, for example, to power up her Earthquake, or even the Never Melt Ice to power up her Ice Fang if I feel like I'm gonna need it. But for now, the Shell Bell is just a good universal item. Next trainer is the toughest gym in Sinnoh. That's why I'm here, to learn the best battle techniques around. I find it funny that the final gym in Sinnoh is a combination, for the trainers, it's a combination of guitar players and school kids. I don't know why, that just makes me laugh. It's such an odd combination. Like, yeah, the guitarist archetype has always been using electric types except for Cricketune, that being like the one exception in this game so far. But the school kids in the strongest gym in Sinnoh, it seems absurd, but at the same time, with this kid's line, it makes a lot of sense. Also, I almost lost Sympath there to a crit. News at 11. But, you know, high special defense, so I knew that he was going to be okay. Can I also just say how much I really hate that I need to do post-commentary on this? Like, I've had to do it before whenever my audio gets corrupted. It's not that big of a deal, but I don't know. For something like this, it really feels wrong having to do it, but trust me, the audio was completely unsalvageable. What I had before, for some reason, basically just turned into completely garbled robot noises, and there was no way I could save it. And then we've got a hardcore Pikachu. Can you guess what the hardcore Pikachu is going to have for a Pokemon team? If you guessed 4 Pikachu, well, you'd be right. And now, of course, I'm leading with Brava. A, because Intimidate. B, because I want her to get some training. And C, because I can use U-Turn. Like, honestly, if I wasn't trying to get everybody training, I would probably have just rocked this whole place with Onyxia from start to finish. But I want everyone to get a bit of love. And at least, unlike with Spitfire with Brava, I've got an excuse on how to use her. And as you can see, she even killed off a Pikachu. I know, shocker, she killed Pikachu. That's not exactly special. But I didn't expect U-Turn to do that, if I'm being honest. That did kind of catch me off guard. At any rate, with the rest of these Pikachus, I'm just gonna murder them with Onyxia real quick. Nice and easy. And yeah, for some reason, all of them kept trying to use Feint, which, as mentioned before, is a move that only works if you're using Protect. feeling that those Pikachu literally had no other attacking moves besides that and electric attacks, so they could not hurt Onyxia even if they tried. Which, you know, I find that amusing. Now, the Pikachu were one thing, but what about a Raichu? Well, even though Bravo was able to kill a Pikachu, Raichu are also really fast, so I decided it wasn't worth the risk with her. And instead figured, you know what, this Raichu is probably going to use an electric move. Let's send in Lumen and use his special ability to absorb electricity and turn it into health. A trick I definitely need to make sure I remember I can do. Popping up a light screen for a little extra special defense, and we'll see how Lumen does against this Raichu. Shadow Ball being the best thing I can do in this situation. Honestly, the more I think about it, the more I think I should probably just axe Hidden Power. Hidden Power on Lumen is Bug type, right? Bug is good against Dark and Psychic and Grass. The Dark type is the only one I could think of where I could probably see it being used, but most Dark types in this game are going to be weak to something else. Like, you know, Honchkrow, for example, is weak to electricity. Houndoom is weak to water and would also resist Bug for both of those situations. The point is, there's not many Pokemon where I would want to actively use Bug over Ghost or Electric. And even then, like, I don't know. The problem is I don't know what I would teach in place of it. I guess I could try and find another status move. I don't know. I need to consider my options on that, because Hidden Power is good, but like I mentioned when I taught it to him, I really wish it was a different type. I wish it wasn't Bug. Anyways, this floor, as you can see, has the red circles, which do a full 180 rotation instead of 90-degree rotation. And the puzzle in here is going to be, well, you'll see. Either way, our ace trainer here has an Electabuzz. And at this one, I had to stop and think for a moment about Brava, thinking, would she outspeed this thing? And I figured yes. Because Electabuzz are not slow, but they're not Raichu fast. Unfortunately, they also have static, so Brava did get paralyzed. But, you know, came out, did some damage, and Onyxia is then ready to take charge. After a failed Shockwave, it goes in with an Iron Tail, only to fail. And then it dies. It still feels weird to think of Electabuzz as using Iron Tail. Like, yeah, it's got a tail, but it's like a cat's tail. You know, it's thin, it's wiry. You don't think of something like that being hard as iron. Also, I kind of love this. Raichu used Dig, a smart move against a Steel type. Unless that Steel type has Earthquake, which then allows it to hit you even though you're underground. Yeah, Dig is a move that allows you to dodge attacks like Fly. But not all attacks. Earthquake will still get you. And I love it. I love it so much. Either way, I think that there's only 2 trainers left before the gym leader, starting with this guy. Spark! This is what our gym leader did to the gym out of boredom. This guy does some amazing things out of boredom if it's, you know, involves, you know, complex gears and heavy machinery like this. That being said, the practicality of it is questionable at best. I mean, yeah, I get it. The gyms are supposed to be challenges for trainers, but it always does strike me as a little weird how some of these puzzles have, like, nothing to do with Pokemon battling at all. I don't know. Sometimes it seems a little silly. But at least it's thematically appropriate. I think that's all that they care about. Either way, more Luxios, and since he gave me the swagger, I decided, you know what? We're gonna use Ice Fang since you boosted my attack stat. I don't need to waste my time earthquaking you. I've only got 2 earthquakes left anyway before I have to go back to the Pokemon Center. And it turns out I was very right to make that call. I actually forget what this guy has after the Luxio. But Onyxia gains a level up out of that, which is very nice. Oh, it's another Luxio, of course. So many Luxio. And since the last Luxio was so kind as to swagger me and die by Ice Fang, I figured this one would probably be just as kind. Naturally, getting that level up also helped, considering that boosted our attack a bit. And with that, there should only be 1 trainer left in the gym before we take on the leader. But to do that, we gotta cross here. And this part of the puzzle is where things got a little confusing for me. Not yet. Although I was a little afraid that that was like a lightning wall, but no, it's just there for decoration. But yeah, getting to that guy isn't too hard. Getting to Volkner's a little bit confusing, if you ask me, but, you know, it gets figured out. Wow, I'm surprised you've come this far, but you have to turn back. There isn't any chance you could ever beat me. Says the guy who is using exclusively electric types. And is therefore highly predictable. Look, I get it. The theming, again, same as the puzzles, but, you know, little variety here and there could go a long way in making these gyms more of a challenge. As an aside, this Electabuzz did the exact same thing as the last Electabuzz. Tried to do Shockwave on the bird, but then it failed because I sent out the snake. Tried to use Iron Tail on the snake, but it missed, and then the snake kills it. Literally the exact same procedure. And I find it amusing. Alright, and Magneton is where we end off the gym trainers. So, you know, it's gonna die. It is very shiny, though, with that mirror shot. It did get to show off its shine. But it's not going to survive no earthquake. Not a chance. You know, quadruple effective and all that. But that's that. So, I'm going to go off to the Pokemon Center to heal up, and then we will meet back up at the gym leader. Now, like I mentioned before, the puzzle to actually get to Volkner kind of threw me for a bit of a loop at first. But what you're supposed to figure out is, you see those gears over on the right there as they're spinning and making platforms? That's kind of important, because in order to get to Volkner, you need it to be in that position right there. Which means you have to gain access to him while you're on the right as opposed to on the left. So the way you got to do it is I need to rotate it 2 more times. Let's see if this is when I figure it out. I think this is when I figure it out. 2 more steps. Yeah, and then you got to go down here and use one of those red ones. Because now you can go up top and gain access to the dude. Yeah, it took me longer than I'd like to admit to figure that one out. Either way, leading on with Brava. All right, Challenger. It's not often, but some trainers manage to come and challenge me. But they've all been boring battles. I didn't break a sweat beating them. I'm Volkner, the gym leader. They say I'm the top gym leader in Sinnoh, but anyway, I guess we better get this done. I hope you're the trainer who will make me remember how fun it is to battle. The board master of battle himself, Gym Leader Volkner. Starting off with his own Jolteon, which I was not expecting or ready for. But I am glad, because I was able to send out my own Jolteon to get a little bit of setup going. But first, let's have that actual bit of a mirror match. Obviously, electric moves are completely off the table, because we are immune to electricity. His Jolteon then falls back on Quick Attack, which is not great for Jolteon. They are not very strong with their physical attack. He would have been much better off finding some other moves to teach him. That being said, he does have Iron Tail, which does still hit kind of hard, if only because of that, the fact that it lowers defense. But for a Jolteon, it's really not great, coupled with the fact that electric resists steel. Either way, spamming Shadow Balls does work out pretty well. The only problem is I'm not getting any of the special defense drops, which would have made this a lot better. And because of that, his Jolteon ends up just getting into the red instead of falling outright, which means Hyper Potion, as you do. With that, it's like, okay, Lumen could definitely do this if I were to heal him up. But ultimately, I felt it was time for a bit of a change of tactics. So I put up another light screen in preparation. Have to eat another Iron Tail first. And decided it's time to bring out the big guns. And I went straight to Onyxia. And with the light screen in play, anytime a special attack is thrown my way, it'll deal half as much damage as it would otherwise, which puts Onyxia in a very good position. But first, gotta get rid of the rabble. As you can see, pretty easy to do. So with that, 1 down, 3 to go. And what could he have next? A Raichu. Which I have to admit, I was not expecting him to send next. But there's a reason he does this. And that's the reason. Focus Blast. Power 120 special fighting type move. Normally, I would have been terrified. But I had a light screen, so it didn't do nearly as much as it would have. Then again, even without the light screen, Onyxia would have still survived. It didn't do half of her health. And needless to say, yeah, the one Focus Blast not being enough spelled the end of Raichu. And thanks to the Shell Bell, even managed to get a nice bit of healing out of it. Now comes Volkner's ace, Electivire, the evolved form of Electabuzz. And I was a little nervous because I couldn't remember if Electivire was physical or special focused. I was pretty sure they were physical, and it turns out they are. But it's like, it doesn't really matter, because if it's physical, Onyxia is an Iron Wall. If it's special, Onyxia has a light screen up. Either way, she was covered. And what does the Electivire end up doing after all that deliberation? Fire Punch. Again, smart move to use on Onyxia. But, you know, she's way too tanky. She was just way too tanky. And Electivire was also kind of tanky, able to survive an earthquake, which I was not expecting. Luckily, it had a citrus berry. And the reason why I say luckily on that is because I healed him enough that Volkner didn't toss another Hyper Potion on him. At least I assume that's the case. It's entirely possible that Volkner only had 1 Hyper Potion for the entire fight, but I think that they have 2 at this point. So I'm like to think that it was the citrus berry that saved me from having to deal with Electivire going back to full health. And with that, only 1 Pokemon remains. And it's a Luxray. Big surprise. Honestly, he would have been smart to send a Luxray in before the Electivire because... Oh, wait, no, never mind. I was about to say because of Intimidate, but no, the Luxray does not have Intimidate like I thought he did. Would you believe I fought this man just yesterday? My memory certainly is showing that. Either way, tossed a milk on Onyxia to heal her up just in case, which I feel was the right move given that Fire Fang. And now all it takes is just landing an Earthquake. And with that, Volkner is done. Or is he? Indeed, the Luxray managed to survive with more health than the Electivire, which, that really caught me off guard. Like, I did not expect Luxray to survive an Earthquake. But sure enough, he did, and needed a second one. Ultimately, all it did was delay the inevitable. Overall, not a tough gym when you've got a Steelix with Earthquake on your team. But that's that. The final gym badge will be ours in the moment. You've got me beat. Your desire and the noble way your Pokemon battled for you. I even felt thrilled during our match. That was a very good battle. That was the most fun I've had in a battle since I don't know when. It's also made me excited to know you and your team will keep battling to greater heights. This is your 8th gym badge. You've earned it. We've received the Bacon badge from Volkner. It says Beacon, but I almost misread it as Bacon before, and I found it amusing. It lets you use Waterfall outside of battle, which is going to be important for moving on. And any Pokemon at any level will obey without fail. And we also get TM57, which contains the move Charge Beam, which is an interesting move. It's an electric move that's not that powerful, all things considered, but it has about a 50% chance of raising your special attack when you use it, similar to how Rock Smash has about a 50% chance of lowering your opponent's defense. So you'll see it proc quite often, and it can be pretty good for building up. I just prefer Thunderbolt personally, but it's a great move if, you know, if it does rely a little bit more on RNG. Anyways, that's it for Volkner, which means that we now need to find a Waterfall HM, and that's what the next one is going to be primarily focused on, as well as clearing out the rest of the trainers over on Route 222. As I mentioned at the start of this video, there are gonna be one, maybe two more episodes with this post commentary, unfortunately, because it was all in the same recording session and, you know, the same glitch occurred. I really have no idea what the heck happened still, and it's bothering me. But, you know, what are you gonna do? Either way, until next time, thanks so much for watching. Goodbye.